Cyril Ramaphosa has joined South Africans in mourning the passing of Bob Mabena. Ramaphosa says his exceptional talent and voice of reason and insight reached millions of South Africans in their homes, workplaces and vehicles. As we continue to pay tribute to Bob Mabena, we speak to Sindi Mnguni, who was a producer of his show at Kaya FM. Sindi, good evening. Certainly a difficult day. Where were you and how did you receive the news of his passing?
Hi, Bonki. Thank you for having me tonight. The news came as a shock. I'm still in shock. It's like people are going to send a message saying that it's all a joke, but it really isn't, because the legend that Bob is, you can't imagine not being anymore. That I can't imagine a world without Bob right now.
And Sindi, those who worked with him, I'm sure you would have heard Thabo Mdluli there describing him as a meticulous dresser, I must say. Someone who could show up at work in a suit and tie at 4 o'clock in the morning and, you know, really make it look so good and look like he really slept in those clothes and really a consummate professional. What are some of the things that you'd remember most about him?
Bob was a meticulous dresser. Like, he had this thing about scarves. He would wear a scarf like no other man, you know. And Bob was such a brilliant man. Like, I cannot emphasize how brilliant his brain was. Anything that Bob, I remember we would have guests that were sprung on us like moments before they would come on air, and whatever information I gave to him, he would soak it up within seconds and give the most profound and most intelligent interview, like he's known the person for the longest time. Like, I've never met someone who would absorb information and keep the information and portray it and deliver it in such a way that you would swear that Bob had a personal relationship with every person that he was talking to. And I mean, even with the people that we were working with, I don't imagine anyone who has crossed paths with Bob that didn't walk away with having knowledge for radio, for politics, for religion, for relationships, anything that Bob had absorbed and came across. You would walk away with knowledge that you would not even think you would walk away with. He was such an, I don't know how to explain. Bob was such a brilliant mind. We have lost a legend, guys. Like, we have lost a remarkable radio person and a remarkable father. Bob was a great father to all of his children. Bob was such a loving human being.
Yeah. And Sindi, one of the things, you know, a number of people wonder about Uncle Bob, as, you know, many of us used to call him, is that really when you get into his presence, you think that here's this legend and I'm about to brief him about the show and the guests that we have tonight or today, and he may not like them and he may throw his weight around. Did you ever experience that with him?
Had a mind of his own. Bob stood his ground. When he believed in something, he would put it across without making his guests feel uncomfortable. But he would make it a point that whatever it is that he believed in and what he knew and what he thought of the person came across without disrespecting and without making the guests feel like they are nothing. Bob was a remarkable person. I'm at a loss for words to describe the kind of person that he was, honestly.
And tonight, South Africa is remembering him as, you know, a giant, both on screen, yes, behind the mic, and on the decks and everywhere else. What would you like South Africa, the Gemma indeed, what would you like South Africa to remember him as?
Bob had a love for his craft. Bob loved the medium that he was in. I remember when I started working with him, he was my boss. But he never, when I then became his producer, because I would have to tell him what it is that he has to do and what he has to say, but he never at any point felt that I am inferior to him, because now I have to tell him what it is that he has to say to the world. He was brilliant. He was brilliant. His children, he was such a remarkable man around. He was such a huge and a loving father figure to all the children that he was entrusted with. The children that were his, the children that were not his. His last born daughter was named after, he named his daughter, his last daughter, after him. He was a loving father. He was a brilliant, he had time for people that wanted to learn about radio and about the medium that they were entering into. So I really would love South Africa and the whole world that knew Bob to know that he took pride in the craft that he took upon himself, from the Bob days to 94.7 to Kaya FM days to even to the Power FM days. He really is going to be missed by a lot of people, especially his children, because at the end of the day, a lot of the children have lost a father today.
And, as a final question from me, some of the colleagues, at Kaya FM must be taking this very hard. Have you spoken to some of them, and what have they had to say?
I have had numerous conversations with the people that we used to work with, from Kumba to Eugene to Khumuso Meso, to like the news readers that we used to work with. That man had such great lessons to leave behind with everyone that he crossed paths with, and everyone is just devastated, and we are all in shock. And it seems like someone is going to send a message saying that this is all a joke, but honestly, it's not. Everyone is just devastated. It's a huge loss. It's a huge loss.